Did you guys have that turned on in here?
Yes.
Yeah. That was pretty exciting. Miserable, but pretty exciting there.
How sat back were you
Yeah, we were all in the coach's locker room. I was getting undressed and showering because I refused to watch what was going on there, but I actually snuck out for the bases loaded 3-2, 2 outs, line drive buggy whip to right field, and it flies out pretty good at Oklahoma State, so that looked like a grand slam happening. But Gabe Davis, number 22, came up big for the Mountaineers.
That your opening statement, or do you want to get more about tonight's game or whatever, just that season in general?
Oh, I don't care. But I think tonight's game obviously had an opportunity to go win an outright title, and there's a million different circumstances. And we addressed the team before this series. And when we talked about goals for the season, we never once mentioned a Big 12 regular season title. We talked about gelling together as a team, playing clean baseball, competing every inning, and we said the end goal and the only thing that actually matters in this is winning a national title, and that's what we're here for, and that's what we're going to do. And we said that we're never going to discuss that again. So we wanted to go set on a mission to really trust the process and get better day by day. And there's only one team that wins this whole thing. So every year there's about 305 Division I teams, and there's one successful team. And you have to be okay with that as a player and a coach. But all the other things that go along the way are really fun and they're exciting and you want to accomplish them. But we didn't talk about that. So I just tried to hold our team accountable to remembering what we talked about. And those were all those process-oriented things that had an opportunity to make us great long term. It certainly felt I don't know if it's coincidental or it feels like our team was trying to hold on to something to play for a title to win. We hadn't played our best baseball, but that's not 100% true. I think there's been areas that have been our best, but we haven't done them all together. For example, at Kansas State, we played really, really great offense, and we had some huge hits and some awesome at-bats. Tonight, we had a starter in Griffin Kern who was outstanding. He threw over 120 pitches and held one of the best offenses in the league to 2 runs. And so I don't think I'm disappointed in anything individually. It's just not everything has come together. But when you win 40 games and you win an outright title and you set a regular season wins record and everything's gone your way, there's been a lot of games where everything came together for us. And then when it hadn't, we found ways to win. Recently, we hadn't won as much as we did. We were winning at maybe an 80% clip there for a while. So, but if Griffin Kern can do that, our offense is probably going to have success over the course of the long haul because we score 9 runs per inning. So I told Griffin after the game, hey, I feel like he may be the least rewarded pitcher on our staff because he's pitched so well and hasn't always walked away with the win for the Mountaineers. But what he did today was heroic and probably will have a huge impact on this series. Being able to put their closer in the game for 2 innings is a really big deal. So he was able to keep the game very, very close. And so a lot of great things happened today. Skylar King made an incredible play that took a run off the board. Kyle West made a huge play down the left field line for a catch. The next evolution for our team is to win games when you're trailing late. Good teams find a way, especially at home, to walk somebody off or to build a big inning. Our at-bats in the last inning were not good enough, and so we need to be able to find a way to win games late. That's what good teams do. When you win as many games as we have, you're normally trailing, and we haven't done that very often, so we need to learn how to do that. That's my long opening statement.
Coach, it's quite possible over the course of your coaching career you may win 10, 20, 30, conference championships. This being your first.
I hope so.
Well, sure. I don't want to predict the future. I mean, you may win a lot of them, but this one being your first and it comes on a night when you're shut out, is there any kind of like mixed feelings with that at all?
No mixed feelings, just gracious, humbled to be here, thankful for our staff, thankful for our players. I like to work. I really like doing what I do. I love my family. I got no hobbies. I have a limited amount of friends. And so to be able to come to work every day and do this and compete and try to win and help influence young people and stay in a routine and work outside. Like, those are all things that I love to do. So it is really special. No mixed emotions for me, because winning's really hard and life can be hard. And so winning titles at West Virginia in a 14-team league, that is not a mixed feeling for me. That's a beautiful thing. There are 14 teams that are competing, some with unbelievable recruiting areas, some with bigger budgets, some with more College World Series appearances, some with more first rounders, some with more tradition. It's hard. And so if you can do hard things and accomplish things that have never been done in program history, there's no mixed feelings for me, just feelings of gratitude that I get to be part of it.
Does this change the way you approach the next two games to try to set, especially pitching up for next week, or are you still playing this with the hopes of hosting a regional?
Yeah, I think that's how you have to attack it, because there's too many factors still that we don't fully control with RPI and the committees and strength of schedules and all those kind of things. I think we're still at the point where you just have to go play to win every game, to put yourself in a situation. It's hard to leave out regular season Power 4 champions out of hosting a regional. It's very, very difficult. There's only 4 of them, and we're playing in one of the best leagues in the nation, so we deserve that. We need that. That's something that absolutely should happen here, and we're deserving of right now. Done deal. However, that being said, I think you just got to go play to win every game that you have an opportunity to win at this point. The tournament doesn't have a greater impact than what these games have. And so I guess that's what I meant a little bit by some of the accolades along the way. They're wonderful, but it's not the end mission. And so winning the tournament, that's not something that we spoke about or we say that that's the most important thing. I personally, the regular season's such a better barometer for how talented and how gritty and how good your team is, because you're obviously playing over months and months. So the tournament is really fun, and it's a great experience for the fans, and our players get to play in a big league park. But to set up for that is not what we're doing. If anything, you would make sure that you're healthy and set up for a regional tournament.
Based off your limited time in the clubhouse tonight, how did it compare amongst the players compared to the trip back from Austin?
I wasn't with the players, so after the game, I just told them, like, this is where we're at. We have an opportunity to win a title if somebody else wins a game, and most of them are aware of that, but you'd be surprised that I guarantee there are some guys that didn't know that on our team, because we are hyper-focused on what we're doing and how to get these guys better. And so, like, we hammer it. Like, culturally, we hammer that. There is nobody else. It's about us and controlling what we do. And so I was with Kyle West last night doing the radio show at Mountain State Brewing Company, and he didn't know that we needed one win for a championship, or that if Arizona State lost, we'd win a championship. He legitimately didn't know that. And I'm a little bit proud of that, because, like, newsflash, having 18 to 22-year-olds playing harder doesn't mean you're going to play better. Like, just because you want something more doesn't mean that you play better in competitive sports. It's actually usually the opposite. So if you go about your business, these kids love to play baseball. They're committed to playing. They're committed to the university. So you want them to play free and easy. But it's certainly got around the locker room, like, we're playing for titles. Like, they understand that. But with Austin, I would say very different deal, because we needed to win a game for an outright championship, so we just won an outright championship, so very, very different. But you can feel tonight, I felt like the offense got outside themselves a little bit. And so was it because there was a lot on the line with the title? I can't say that for sure, but we definitely swung at more balls and chased more pitches than we had recently. But we were also playing for a title at Kansas State, and we swung it great. So I think it's easy, to maybe identify what's happened around you for the reason, but I don't think that's necessarily concrete. it's fun for me as a coach. You look back at some of these games that we played, and there's been so many amazing regular season games, and it's like, man, that game 3 at Texas Tech, or after the first game at Tech, winning that second one after things weren't going our way with the weather delays and those kind of things. BYU trailing 15-7 and coming back and winning that ball game. We dodged wildfires in Stillwater and changed hotels, and then played a 1-game series against Oklahoma State and won a game. So it depends on how you slice it, but if you've been around like you guys have the entirety of the season, it's like that Oklahoma State game that we opened the season with, that just won the Mountaineers a title. Coming back down 15-7 against BYU and showing what the team's made of, that just won the Mountaineers a title. And so those are the moments for me that you're proud of.
Is there anything you got to do differently to get back to how you were hitting at Kansas State, considering you got shut out tonight? Is there anything you got to do differently in preparation for tomorrow, or are you just the same mindset going through it all?
I think we need to make some adjustments. I think we chased outside the zone, and today their starter, he's great. He's a really good pitcher. He was a preseason Big 12 pitcher of the year, so that guy's a stud. And so studs can beat you occasionally, but we swung at pitches that were elevated in the zone. There's fastball, and then we chase sliders down pretty consistently. And so it's really sometimes hitters, when they want to be good or they want to make an impact for the team, they can start kind of getting in swing mode. And so you just have to make sure that we're very calm and we stick to our approach. So every pitcher that we face, we have some sort of approach going into the game, how to beat him, and I felt like we got outside of our approach today.
Decision to go back to Gavin tomorrow instead of Chase, what all goes into that?
Gavin had been kind of the routine starter throughout the majority of the season, and he had an injury that prevented him from starting, so that's why Meyer got the start. And then it so happened that we lost the series, and it was both, we were winning both of those games that we lost against Kansas State, and so we felt like maybe a little bit depleted on the bullpen side of things. Chase really likes the moment. He thrives off of the moment, the excitement, the energy, and we felt like he'd be in a good place to get back to the bullpen. And when you start playing these games late, you usually need some firepower. So you can't have like light throw and strike throwers in there against the best teams in the country. You have to have somebody end somebody. And so Chase's walk rate is too high, but his strikeout rate is ridiculous. So his ability to punch somebody out in those moments, it makes all of us want to drink during the games sometimes. But he's been so good, and he handles the moment, and he's been electric, and so we really trust him. Truthfully, we trust him, and we built that trust in the bullpen. So when I talked to him about wanting to potentially going back to the bullpen, he was excited. I saw in his eyes that there was no worry about him going to the back to the bullpen. It looked like he was actually pretty thrilled to do it. So that was the decision we made.
Coach, you kind of went through different parts of the season there a few minutes ago. These last 9 or 10 games, you're right, there's been moments where things have looked good and worked pieces here and there. Overall, though, the results are probably, the walk-offs and whatever tonight. Concerned, peaks, valleys, what's the state of affairs, I guess?
Never concerned, because these are the guys that you've worked with the entire year. The team is the team. Those are the dudes. And so I don't think you ever get concerned. It's always just a focus on how to get better and to get guys in a better place. And so, every off day you're watching film with guys and you're making adjustments and you're trying to crack the code. That's what we do day in and day out. It's you're trying to crack the code and figure out the puzzle and get guys in the right place. And so with every team, you see runs, and you see guys get cold, and you see guys kind of go lukewarm, and then you see guys get super hot. And even teams that win national titles, sometimes they're bad regular or average regular season teams, and they get hot. And so I think every pitch and every at-bat and every game is that opportunity to get hot again. I think we have a 14-game win streak and a 13-game win streak. And so it's not reasonable to be that hot consistently. So I told the guys in the locker room today, I was like, I think we needed to get blanked. I think we needed to put up a 0 because, like, once you hit rock bottom, like, the objective of our game is to score runs. You have to score more runs to beat the opposing team. So by getting blanked, maybe, like, we kind of start anew. Maybe we can get cooking a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't say concerned. More find a way to change the mo.
What do you see with Sabe right now? Is he getting good at bats and just not working for him? Or?
Had some great at bats at Kansas State. What Logan is doing is swinging at pitches above the zone. So he's aggressive and he can occasionally hit a pitch that's elevated, but he's consistently swinging at pitches above the zone, and even if they're not above the zone, upper part of the strike zone. And he's on his backside a little bit, swinging at elevated pitches, and he's swinging and missing. Tonight he had a strikeout on a fastball up in the last inning, and he had a strikeout on a slider up as well. So literally right after the game, I was like, we got to make an adjustment. We got to imagine that there's a brick wall, you know, at our chest, and that you're hunting for everything under that zone. But you got to make an adjustment because he's actually he's a plate discipline guy that is probably a little over eager to hit. He should be a really high walk guy because he's shown that elite level plate discipline, especially in the fall. This spring he's been a little bit aggressive, but he's one of those guys where you're kind of like, if we could get him in the right place, he's as good as anybody. He really can carry teams, but we got to make that jump.
Coach, if we were to tell you when you were hired to be the head coach that you'd win a big title in your first year, you're 1 win away from a school record in that category, how would you respond to that?
Sign me up. I'm being on that. Yeah, I was. It's incredible. I want to thank everybody that's been part of this, everybody that's into this, everybody that's helped build this thing. Coach Mays was in the foyer when I walked out and gave me a big hug. What's happened here over the course of the last decade is incredible. It's transformational to a state, to a community, obviously to this program, but we've won 2 Big 12 regular season titles in the last 2 years. In the last 3 years. And so in 2023 and 2025, winning Big 12 titles in West Virginia, you asked me that question, I said, I'll take it. But if I would have told you that would have been the case 10 years ago, you would have laughed at us. And so the people that are part of this program, from student managers to coaches to players to alumni to media to sports information to athletic training, strength and conditioning, and everybody in between, it's remarkable what has happened here. It is unparalleled. There's no other program in the country that, if you look over the last 10 to 15 years of where it started to where it is now and what's being accomplished, this is the fastest and greatest growth of a program in the nation, bar none. And that's just the facts of the matter. And so to be able to win a title and put the cherry on top is even better, but we just have a lot of work to do. Everything's in front of us, and we'll keep working to try to win ball games and go as far as we can. Thanks, guys.
Congrats, Coach.
Congrats, guys.